following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. Did we have a weekend? It was such a busy weekend. We had good weather yesterday, so it was a beautiful day. And it was a beautiful day to head to the Nashville Palace and see Twitty and Lynn perform brand new music of, brand new music. It was actually brand old music. It was great. They were, if you don't know about Tayla and Twitty, they are recapturing the magic of their grandparents, Loretta Lynn, on her 90th birthday anniversary. They will be at the Grand Ole Opry. Tayla is going to be singing songs of her grandmother. And it's going to be a great night on Thursday night. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to talk about that show in just a little bit. Got to enjoy visiting with Elizabeth. She was there and it was so much fun. My friend Frank went there. But before we get into all our music, we're going to talk a little bit about something I plan to do on Friday. If you've got a small space, or maybe you have a space you don't want to commit to tearing your yard up, but you just want to grow, let's say, a few tomatoes. Did you know you can grow a nice garden with buckets, the big 5-gallon buckets? But there's some things that you need to know about bucket farming, about what kind of bucket to use. I didn't know it mattered, but it really does. Take a look at a homesteading video, and I'll tell you who it's by in just a second, but take a look.
You need to select yourself some 5-gallon buckets that are food grade quality, BPA free. And the way that you know that, some of them put it right on the bucket when you get them. It tells you they're food grade buckets. And you can go to like a bakery or a grocery store that gets buckets fulls of pickles, like at a deli or something. They'll give you the pickle buckets. Any buckets that came with food in it, you know, is pretty safe. Go to the bakery and they have 5-gallon buckets full of icing. Yeah, clean all the icing out. Of course, you can do it the old-fashioned way, or you can wash it. But anyway, they're good buckets too. Another thing to look for is, if you look on your buckets closely, you'll see the recycle code right there. See that triangle on there? And it says HDPE underneath it, and there's a 2 inside that triangle. That means the number 2 with the HDPE, that's food quality. That's what you want to look for, is that number 2 on your containers. So we don't want any leaching of any products that were in these. If you ever had anything other than food in it, or for example, a bucket full of paint thinner, you don't want to use that bucket ever. Even if you clean it, just don't risk it. So you want to use something that's never had anything in it, and if it did have something in it, it was food, or it has this 2 on there. So here we go. To get ready to put in our seed potatoes, I'm going to mark my bucket just to show you how we do it. I'm going to make a mark right here at 4 inches. This is going to be the level that I fill it up to, and I put my seed potatoes in. Then I'm going to cover those seed potatoes 6 inches deep, which gets me up here to 10 inches. So there's my fill line. This will be where I put my seed potato. This is where I fill it up to. And when that chit is sitting in here, and this chit right here grows all the way up and breaks the surface, this will be the green point right here. Once it hits there, there will be no more potatoes formed. All the potatoes will form from here all the way to the bottom. So there's your growing area of potatoes. Now when these potatoes get on up and they get past the top of the bucket here, I will fill the bucket up with more soil until I get to the very top of this rim, which leaves me about approximately 1.5 to 2 inches on the top. So when I water, it has a lip up here to catch the water like a water basin and let it sink through. Okay, and we've got the holes drilled. We want to drill plenty of holes. I put 5 holes in each container, and I want this water, when I water these potatoes, I want it to fall through. We want it to fully drain. You don't want to have your potatoes sitting in the bottom of the bucket and remain totally saturated in water and wet, or they will rot. So it's better to let this stuff completely drain out and then re-water the next day. Let it go all the way out. If it stays wet, it'll rot, and that's disappointing.
I love all those tips. They're really good. Now, my little mama did an entire container garden. She grew all her tomatoes and her peppers and all the things. She had a good salad garden literally in the back. She at the time she lived, she and my dad was still with us, and they lived in an assisted living community. So she had a little tiny patio, and she grew everything she needed for a good salad or a tomato sandwich and what. It was just cool. And she went to Dollar Tree and got these little inexpensive laundry baskets. That's what she used. And because she's little, she recycled her packing peanuts so it wouldn't be so heavy. And she would put that in the bottom and then put her dirt over that. And those little tentacles of roots just went all around those packing peanuts, and they got all the nourishment that they needed from the dirt, but it wasn't so heavy. When you buy that potting soil that has vermiculite in it, there's literally some like styrofoam in there. I mean, there's some stuff that's actually not soil in there just to keep it a little lighter, and so it won't pack down around the roots. Well, speaking of little mamas, if you want to be part of our Nashville Sounds Moms Love Baseball competition, get a picture of your mom and upload it for our contest page. You can go to any of our Main Street media pages. If you're with the Portland Sun, you can go to the community tab and look, and there's a contest page. Hendersonville Standard, community tab, contest page. Or you could just go to the Main Street Today Facebook page, and pinned to the top of that page, you click the link that looks just like this. You just click that picture, and it will allow you to sign up, upload a picture of mom, win tickets to a Sounds game, a night in a motel, and brunch at Third and Home. It is a a contest taking place until April 22nd, midnight. Ooh, tonight, if you go downtown, I mean, last night it was a buzzing. They got, the stages are all set up. There are lights, camera, action. There are trucks to broadcast the CMT Music Awards, which will be tonight. However, Casey Ballerini was set to, I don't know what happened yet. I do not know the details, but it was just announced this morning she will not be hosting as planned. Something has happened, whatever. Anyway, yesterday, Nashville Palace was rocking with Twitty and Lynn. The fans were just incredible. I cried because it just was so reminiscent of Conway and Loretta with their grandchildren, Tayla, Lynn, and Trey Twitty. It was an absolutely fantastic show. Do you know about Twitty and Lynn? They're touring around the country, and they might have a show coming up near you.
There's too much love in this Mississippi heart.
Too much love in this Louisiana heart.
Hey, Louisiana woman,
Mississippi man,
we get together every time we can. Mississippi River can't keep us apart. There's too much love in this Mississippi heart.
too much love in this Louisiana heart.
So I said, we should do some shows together. And you're like, oh, you know what, man? My thing's really not singing right now. I'm really doing my photography.
Well, I was. I'm actually a photographer by trade, so.
So you said no.
Okay.
You said no that night. And I was like, fine, dude. And then like a month later or something, I was singing a duet with someone, a Conway and Loretta song. And you hit me up on Facebook. You're like, hey, we should try this out sometime. I'm like, that's what I've been trying to say.
Too much love in this Mississippi heart.
Too much love in this Louisiana heart.
We agreed to do a show. So I got a show booked in Missouri or something.
Like out in the
for
middle
us.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just try it out.
So we did the show in Missouri, and people just loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, I guess this thing is gonna work.
It's really cool how the show has evolved. And we've sold out a bunch of theaters too. Like, it's crazy how much people love Conway and Loretta enough to where they come out and see their grandkids play.
Say you're gonna take him, oh, but I don't think you can. 'Cause you ain't woman enough to take my man.
The magic of this show is the stories that we tell about our grandparents. That personal connection that we have, that she has with me, Ma, I have with Poppy.
Gets him by the hand and walk into the school, and they find Ryan's classroom. They see Ryan's teacher, and he goes, "Excuse me, are you Ryan's teacher?" And she was all shocked. She goes, "I guess, sir." He goes, "Well, hello, darling." After that, she didn't care what Ryan sang.
There's a lot of ways of saying what I want to say to you.
That's the thing about her and I that's kind of the special thing is like she said, we're not impersonators. Our energy is the same as our grandparents.
That's something that Meemaw says to me all the time too. She'll always say, oh, Trey is such a good boy, and Trey is such a good boy, and he's got Conway's heart.
Lay you down and softly whisper pretty love words in your ear. Lay you down and tell you all the things my woman loves to hear.
Everybody says at the autograph table, they come to her and they go, "You are just like your grandmother." It's like you laugh like her, you talk like her, you sing like her, you're crazy like her.
We once were happy. My heart was in a whirl. Oh, but now I'm a honky-tonk girl. So turn that jukebox way up high.
We're down somewhere and we call Meemaw on the phone.
Hello. Darling, I knew it was you.
Meemaw said, "How you guys doing out there?" And Tayla goes, "Well, it's cold. I miss my husband, my kids. I just want to come home." Meemaw gave like a little pause, and she goes, "No, honey, how's your ticket sales doing?"
And that was like the moment that it was like, you know what? You better, if you're gonna do this, you better buck up and go out there and play the dadgum shows and do it.
My only prayer will be someday you care for me, but it's so leave me believe.
When I was born a coal miner's daughter in a cabin on a hill in Butcher Hollow.
Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as lovely as you used to be.
If you don't wanna go to Peach City, you better detour out my town.
To have these kids that their parents are introducing them to our grandparents, to Coal Miner's Daughter, that like where country music came from, where the first radio tour came from, who this awesome duo is, and to be able to share that with them, and like that we get to do that we get to be the ones that go out there and sing their songs. I mean, like, shut up. I'll go with you.
I always say that great art is timeless. What Loretta and Conway did will always be cool.
Yeah.
In 100 years, it'll still be great because it's great.
That's great.
If you got it, you got it. You don't ever lose it. So.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
Hey, Louisiana woman,
Mississippi man,
we get together every time we can. That Mississippi River can't keep us apart. There's too much love in this Mississippi heart.
too much love in this Louisiana.
Oh, you guys, I'm so glad that you're here. Be sure to follow at Twitty and Lynn. You can follow them. They've got Elizabeth and I were sitting together watching the show. Elizabeth was working last night. She was helping with the show. They just had to add a second show in Louisa, Virginia, because the first one sold out so quickly. Well, is that a nice problem to have? It's awesome. And they were so fun, so amazing. I burst into tears several times. I mean, because everybody knows I love me some Loretta. Met her when I was 7 years old and have loved her ever since. And then Conway Twitty he's my guy. I was probably the only 21-year-old driving around in my car with the best of Conway Twitty that stayed on repeat all the time. But you know what? Greatest songman that ever was. Steve Burney says, oh, a CMT Music Awards. Kelsey Ballerini can't host and Devin needs to host the show. Thank you for that vote of confidence. I don't know that I'm in the age demographic for what they would want to host that show. You guys, I'm so glad to be here, and I love to introduce you to some people that are worthy. They're just fantastic. And I got to meet this young lady a little while back when we were doing a podcast together, and she is part of Heart Songs Music Group. She is a writer, she is a singer, and I know that she is studying to show herself approved in her craft of songwriting. Gabrielle Metz has a brand new single. We're about to hear it in just a minute, but we're going to meet her first. All right, Gabrielle, how are you, my darling? Uh-oh, I can't hear you for some reason. Are you muted? Uh-oh. Well, I'm not hearing you. You know what? I'm going to play your single. And then we're going to come right back. Sometimes you have to leave the studio and then come back to make sure. So anyway, all right, we're going to play the brand new single. The single is called Mac.
All my life I've been hiding behind the same smile. Wouldn't let nobody in, 'cause nobody's innocent. All my life I've been running from myself, 'cause I've got all these secrets that I'm not sure I should tell. I'll take off this mask for you. I'll let you break down these walls, just catch me if I fall. And I'll take off this mask for you. Answer every question that you want to ask. I'll take off this mask for you. I've pushed people away. I never thought I'd find someone who'd choose to stay. But I know when I'm with you, I am safe. I wanna let you in. Please have a little grace. Just have a little grace. I'll take off this mask for you. To ask, I'll take off this mask for you. And darling, I'll let you in when the strangers are gone, when we're all alone. I'll take off this mask for you. I'll let you break down these walls, just catch me if I fall. I'll take off this mask for you. Answer every question that you want to ask. I'll take off this mask for you. For you. Check 1, 2.
Goodness. Hell. How are you?
I'm so good. Can you hear me now?
I can't. But can you turn?
Yeah. Better?
There you go. Well, I'm still echoing. Tell us about your new single.
Yeah, so I co-wrote this with a couple of friends of mine, Antonio Moraes and Lynn Roy, and we just got in a room together a little over a year ago, and I had the title in my phone, and I just kind of walked in, and I was like, I have this idea, and I think it could be really good, but we're gonna have to be really like open and honest and vulnerable and just kind of really cut deep for this one. And we did. They were on board, and we just kind of dug deep and really kind of evaluated, you know, our generation and how we communicate with people and how, you know, all of text message and social media has affected how we interact with each other and how that can kind of keep things really surface level. And so we just kind of dug deep on talking about how we find people that just are our people and let us be ourselves, and just that we feel comfortable enough to, you know, take off the mask and just be 100% who you are, be it messy, be it happy, sad, etc. So we just kind of ran with it.
It's wonderful. Can you tell me why you wrote it? Did it have anything to do with the fact that everybody was wearing a mask the past 2 years?
Surprisingly, no, that was not. I think I had that title in my phone for quite some time before we actually ended up writing it. And no, it didn't really, honestly didn't have anything to do with COVID masks, but it did work out that way, that it happened to be the same timing that we were all wearing masks around 24/7.
Where are you from?
Alabama.
How is this been from your hometown?
You know, my hometown is not super music plugged in, we'll say. You know, my friends and family that know me, that keep up with my stuff, are incredible. The messages and just, you know, support that I've received, especially from, you know, people that are really close to me, is amazing. But as for hometown as a whole, they are not super plugged in on the music scene. So it's a bit there, you know, as a whole, not a ton of response, but I think you're frozen. Okay, there you're back.
Yeah, we all got frozen. What happened?
Not sure, but
tough.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and I'm kind of from middle of nowhere, Alabama, where it's you know, a lot of people are into sports and things like that, but music, not really a scene for it. So that's why I packed up as soon as I could, and I was like, we're going to Nashville, where there's a music scene, there's people I can collaborate with and talk music with and just be around music, because that's just very much not a thing where I'm from.
Well, we are so happy to have you. How can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on my social media. I keep everything pretty much up to date there. My website is GabrielleMetz.com. You can find all of my socials, or my Instagram is Gabrielle Metz Music. Everything else is Gab Metz Music.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
She is adorable. I want you to find out, and her brand new single, Masks, is available wherever you get your music. And it really does help when you stream an artist's music. It really does help and make those spins go up. It helps them get noticed. It brings them up above the fray. It has playlist find them and things like that. So when I say support Gabrielle Metz, you're supporting a good one. A good one. Last night, speaking of a good one, I don't know if I could have handled any more emotion because I went from Twitty and Lynn to the Ryman to see Tanya Tucker, and my sister, girl, she brought the house down. She did everything but explode on stage. She is such an entertainer. Such an entertainer. Oh my gosh. And she had so many guests from the Brenda Lee. What? Brenda Lee, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Brenda Lee. She had David Lynn Jones, songwriter, a lot of love for songwriters. Paul Overstreet came out, and one of my highlight of the night was Sonny Throckmorton. He came out, and it literally looked like he was moved to tears, walking out on the stage of the Ryman with love for his songs, singing "That's When the Cowboy Rides Away." Oh, it was just so much emotion. Jason D. Williams, T. Graham Brown. Oh, y'all. T. Graham Brown walked out and just slayed. Absolutely slayed. And I don't want to leave anybody. Oh, Leanne Rimes. She was moved to tears. She just like went, what? And it was something. It really was something. Let's see. Lee Nash. It was a newcomer, and Tanya is singing on her new record. So she came out. There were so many guests. Oh my goodness. It was just crazy good. Ty Herndon, he came out, and they did songs together. She's working on a new album, and she says, this is the one. I love all these songs. She goes, I'm glad the last record y'all loved it and you proved me wrong, but I wasn't as emotionally attached to those songs, but these I've been holding for years. So she's excited for the new album. The last one won a Grammy, but and if I forgot somebody who was on stage, you'll see them on stage here at the end, because I'm going to close the show with the group came out to sing. It was celebrating the 50th anniversary of Delta Dawn. Are you kidding me? 50 years? Her kids were all there. My Ricky Cook was on stage, and let's see if there was any. You'll see him. I'm going to close this show. I'm going to close my show with how she closed hers last night. It was an absolutely emotional day yesterday, and I'm going to show some clips throughout the week of some of the highlights of that show, but we're going to start the whole week off with how the show ended. This is the whole group sing of Delta Dawn. Hillary Williams walked on stage, and Hannah Dasher walked on stage, and the whole cast of characters from the whole night were part of this beautiful, wonderful event. I hope that if Tanya Tucker comes to your town, you buy yourself a ticket, because the audience is much a part of the cast, because every song people sang along with. I'll leave you with this.
Right here, okay? That's good. Delta Dawn, what's that cloud you have? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And if I listen, he was here today to take you to his mansion in the sky. She's 41. All she walks downtown with a suitcase in her hand, looking for a mysterious dark-haired man. In her younger days, they called her Delta Dawn. Tanya Tucker.
You all, thanks so much.
My gosh, it was the best show ever, ever, ever. And I did not mean to. I tell you who else slayed. Jeannie Seeley walked out there and absolutely slayed it with Tanya. They did Don't Touch Me, Jeannie's big hit, and the stories. Oh, and Jessie Coulter, the Jessie Coulter, and Layla Tucker. The youngest of the Tucker kids came out and she sang a Sonny Throckmorton song that's going to be on her new album, their next single. And it was just, it was a night to remember. And I hope that wherever she's performing that you get a ticket, if you can get a ticket, because it is memorable and wonderful. And everybody was part of the show, including the audience. It was beautiful. And there was a lot of love, and we need more love in our world. Be safe, be kind, and remember you're loved. Thanks for being with us each and every day. God bless you.
Nothing like the sunrise with your coffee in the morning, or taking a good book off the shelf. Another thing I love the most than being on my own is together with everybody else. Together like a silent Sunday summer, together on my front porch with my friends, together with who's ever there standing next to me. Yeah, together is my favorite place to be.